Cek, 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 cek satu, cek.
Cek, cek, cek ini Mbak. Cek, 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 cek. Kedekatan, cek, 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 cek. Satu, cek, 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 cek. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. We kindly request that you take your seat as a designated areas, as the ceremony will commence shortly. We also kindly remind you to switch mobile silent or turn them off to ensure the smooth running of this event. Thank you for your cooperation.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Tuh.
Cek, cek.
Untuk para audiens, mungkin yang di belakang bisa agak maju ke depan gitu ya. Yang di belakang di pojok-pojok bisa mengisi tempat di depan terlebih dahulu. Sekali lagi untuk para audiens yang masih berada di belakang bisa maju ke depan dan mengambil tempat di depan terlebih dahulu. Terima kasih. Cek. Bagi para audiens yang masih berada di belakang tempat duduk, bisa mungkin tempat duduknya agak maju gitu ya. Bisa mengisi dulu tempat-tempat yang di depan. Sekali lagi, bagi para audiens yang masih di belakang tempat duduknya, bisa mengisi tempat yang di depan terlebih dahulu. Mungkin yang masih di belakang, kakak-kakaknya dan mbak-mbaknya, mungkin ibu-ibu dan juga bapak-bapak, yang masih di belakang, kami harap bisa menempati tempat di depan terlebih dahulu.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen.
We kindly request that you take your seats at the designated areas as the ceremony will commence shortly. We also kindly remind you to switch your mobile phone to silent mode or turn them off to ensure the smooth running of this event. Thank you for your cooperation. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wa bihi nasta'inu ala umuri dunya waddin wassalatu wassalamu ala sayyidina Muhammadin amma ba'du.
Good morning.
Konnichiwa,
Selamat pagi.
ladies and gentlemen.
Welcome
Welcome to the 15th International Conference on Green Technology 2025 Day 2.
My name is Rangga,
And my name is Sabrina.
and we are honored to serve you as your Master of Ceremony for today's hybrid international conference, proudly hosted by the Faculty Science and Technology UIN Maulana Malik Ibrahim Malang.
This year's theme of the conference is From Green Ideas to Global Action, Science and Technology for a Better Future.
Which invite us to transform ideas into solutions for a sustainable world.
This morning's program will proceed as follows.
First, opening.
Second, keynote presentation of second session.
Third, coffee break.
Fourth, keynote presentation of third session.
Fifth, lunch break.
Sixth, parallel session.
And last, closing ceremony.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are now entering the keynote presentation session, which will feature 4 speakers from different institutions and countries.
To guide us through this session, I now hand over to our moderator, Mr. Husnul Ainul Yakin, PhD, who will lead the keynote presentation and discussion. Please welcome our moderator.
And now we also invite the keynote speakers of this session. Please welcome Professor Kunifumi Tagawa, PhD, and Professor Matia T.S. Dr. Rozia Abu.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I am Husnul Yakin, one of physics lecturer at UIN Maulana Malik Ibrahim Malang. Today, I will be moderator of this event that is the 15th International Conference on Green Technology 2025 with title From Green Ideas to Global Action, Science and Technology for a Better Future. It be an honor to be in this great agenda, meeting remarkable speaker and meeting a lot of wonderful people here. This conference is also conducted by hybrid setting, so we would like to say welcome to participants that joining us with virtually. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for your attending. Ladies and gentlemen, in this moment, we have 2 speakers. The first speaker is Professor Rozia Abu from Malaysia. Nice to meet you, Professor Rozia. The second speaker is Professor Kunifumi Tagawa from Japan, Hiroshima University. Ohayo gozaimasu. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu, Prof. Tagawa. Okay, Before starting our conference, let me quickly get over today agenda. We'll begin with brief introduction of our speaker, followed by presentation about 20 up to 25 minutes for each. And then we continue to the question and discussion session. Ladies and gentlemen, let me move to the first speaker, that is Professor Rozia Abu. I will read the summary of curriculum vitae of Professor Rozia Abu. The academic qualification, she got PhD in Social Science as Psychology from School of Social Science, Psychology, Victoria University, Melbourne, Australia. She also has many teaching experience. The last experience is senior lecturer or associate professor at University Technology Mara, Puncak Perdana, School of Information Science from 2018 up to now. She also has become a guest lecturer in some international conference. Research experience covers data science, information management and science, library, information and society, research method, ethic and philosophical issue, info science in communication and community development. From this contribution, she also has many publication and innovation award. Very great curriculum vitae from Professor Rozia Abu. To save the time, please welcome Professor Rozia Abu to start your presentation.
Bismillah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. And a very good morning to everyone. Thank you to Saudara Moderator, our moderator for today. And thank you so much for the community invitation today. But before I start my presentation, I would like to request my resume just now. I don't know where you get it, but the design is very nice. I think I gave them something else, but somehow it comes out impressive. Yeah. So that's the impact of having a good design, right? But anyway, no, I was just joking. But anyway, seriously, later you give me one, huh? Right. All right. My name is Rozia, and I'm from the University of Technology Mara, Malaysia. I had a very, very interesting engagement session with a bunch of youngsters in the Prodi of Library Sciences Malang. Yeah, I had a very, very engaging and a very nice session with the students yesterday. It's very interesting to see the youngsters are confused like we were today, before. They look very confused, and then it reminds me that we were that session before, right? We were there before. So I hope the engagement that we had in those sessions yesterday was impactful and beneficial to the students. So today, on the serious part of the academic alliances, so today I'm going to be presenting to you findings of a research grant that I managed to get with my team, all right, from the local government. It is called FRGS grant. And within this grant, we proposed a study on understanding the issue of digital inclusion in Malaysian rural public libraries, specifically on digital technology sustainability. So today I'm going to presenting to you the results, not all, but half of the findings that we gathered from this study. So today I'm going to be presenting to you the SDTech work model, advancing on green digital inclusion in Malaysia's rural public libraries. All right, so before I begin and introduce you to the finding, it is very important for you to understand that the substance of our theme for our research is sustainability. But however, the sustainability here in our study focuses on the social and operational sense. That means we are talking about digital equity. We are talking about collaborative services delivery. We are talking about lifelong learning and empowerment. So this is the elements of sustainability, digital sustainability that we focuses in our studies. And at the same time, the green digital inclusion refers to the broader sense of social sustainability context. So because we are talking about rural library and therefore we are talking about rural community, definitely. So we are talking about access issues, inclusivity of access to digital technology. We are talking low resources. We are talking about digital education and also most importantly, how these elements empower the community. This is very important because the society, the local community, the rural community, that is our users and our target audience. So this is the goal. They are the product and they are the goal. So community empowerment, not necessarily focused on environmental technology only. We are referring to something that is more broader. That is the social inclusion, technological inclusion, and of course, social sustainability. So within this team, this focus on emphasizing three development goal, which is in line with the UNESCO and WHO. That is SDG 4, looking on how technological and digital inclusion upgrades the quality of education. SDG 9, digital infrastructure, and of course, SDG 17 is on the partnership. I'm sorry, I sound very, very serious, right? Not like yesterday. Because this is more on academic collaboration, sharing, so I'll just go straight with it. So now, here's the thing with Malaysia scenario, all right? We have what we call a very strong development policy by the government. We have a digital policy framework such as Digital Economy Blueprint, My Digital in Malaysia. We have Pangkalan Data Utama, which is also called PADU. And we have so many initiatives in Dasar Malaysiana, which focuses on the national policy on library and information services. All right, hold on. I think you can follow me, right? Am I going too fast? Pak, bisa ya, Pak? Bisa, Pak? Do I need to do it on my own? Bisa? All right, sorry. I think I'm just going to go with the slides. You can just go with it. Thank you. All right. So, back, what I was saying? Okay, I forgot. Okay, back to the policies. Yeah. So like Indonesian government, the Malaysian government also have a lot of digital policies, and plenty of it. But the problem is that the fact that the geographical area, the not just the geographical, but also the society awareness and education of technological aspect is still being divided. So digital divide in rural Malaysia, it still exists. There are an issue of divide in terms of economic. You know how not everybody can actually buy the technology. And then secondly, the usability. Not everyone is educated and well aware enough on what is technological aspect is all about. All right. So most of us are basically use TikTok, but we don't know how to manipulate TikTok to develop our economic, social stability. What we do is we go into a very ridiculous content that somehow make people annoyed. So using technology wisely to help you, that is the issue. So educated, awareness, and the impact of those technology is something that is still divided among our community. And of course, there's also empowerment, using it to the benefit of the community. So this is a scenario of the divide rural in Malaysia. We are not talking about geographical only, everything, every sense of element of community. And via COVID-19, I think not just Malaysia, everybody faced this, everybody feels it, and we see how difficult life was during COVID-19. And via post COVID-19, we come to realize this sense of exclusion that we are focusing on. Lack of digital connectivity. We find that our rural community is no relevant content on application of technology. The high cost of infra and connectivity, the low digital literacy, and of course, the demographic and geographical issues and socioeconomic issues. So these are the issues that has been Okay, never mind. So these are the issues of inclusion scenario. So the pandemic has revealed that the traditional library services must evolve. Why traditional rural library? Why? Sudah namanya juga perpustakaan desa ya, maka penempatannya ialah di kalangan masyarakat desa yang berada di luar bandar. Maka itu adalah institusi yang terbaik yang sepatutnya digunapakai sepenuhnya untuk reach out to this rural community. So this is the platform and this is the fact that the government has to manipulate and use it wisely so that they can increase the reliance of digital technology among rural population. Despite various initiatives, like I said, the divide is still there. Now, with that, the objective of our research, with that scenario, with that landscape that I show you just now. So our study, the main objective is to, one, to understand adequacy of digital information technology resources that is available in rural public libraries that are currently servicing the rural community. Two, the key challenges, to understand the key challenges faced by the government agencies and the public libraries per se as service provider, all right, in addressing these information needs. Now, ultimately, the aim, the main objective of our study is to propose a sustainable framework. The sustainable framework, I will show it to you. But the aim of this sustainable framework is to foster collaborative engagement via three elements: digital service providers, library stakeholders, and policymakers. So what were the methodology that we are using? The method is, I mean, if you're a student and if you're a docent, you know what this methodology is all about, right? So the technique that we use to collect the data, all right? So the methodology are qualitative research design, all right? And it requires us to engage with 37 rural public librarians, all right? Out of 5 states. The one that I'm going to show you today is 5 out of the total. 5 states in the East Coast and Central region of Malaysia. And we use a semi-structured interviews. That's why this study reached out to 2 years. Because we have to actually go all over Malaysia to gather the studies. And then we use thematic analysis, all right? To conduct that thematic analysis, of course, requires still and vivo decoding and everything, all right? Now, thematic framework that we use, divided by 6 phases, that is process, transcript, and reviewed, coded manually and digitally. Now, in one sense, thematic analysis is very similar with oral local transcript process and preservation information, right? Yes, Bu Nita, yeah, correct, yeah? It sounds like preservative. By the way, we have your expert on preservation, docents here. We have Bu Nita, Pak Amir, Pak Dedi, Pak Nizam. These are all the preservation experts here in UIN. So they know what I'm talking about. So the 3 major themes align with our research objectives. So it can be synthesized via the diagram that I show you. Now, the findings, go straight to the finding. I know Prof. Tagawa can't wait to present his findings too. So today I'm just going to go very quick. So our findings discussion, this section will be presented in and interpreted to the major themes identified from the interviews, and the thematic generate 3 themes, right? 3 themes. One is digital literacy programs. Second, collaboration, partnership, and community engagement. Now, please understand that these 3 themes that I'm presenting to you is drawn from a comparative insight from East Coast and Central region of Malaysia. So their implication for building the sustainable digital public library ecosystem in rural Malaysia. So not the whole Malaysia, but the East Coast and also the Central region. All right. So what are the states that is involved on the East Coast and on the West Coast? That is Kelantan, Terengganu, Pahang, Selangor, and Perak. Now, I'm giving you just a table so that you can see what are the digital initiatives, all right, that introduced by the government and the local government in the local rural public library. As you can see, it somehow crossed states. Like, for example, e-usahawan. E-usahawan is e-entrepreneurship. So this is a program that teaches local rural community on how to engage and use technology to develop local businesses. All right, via online, telling them how to use social media network, including TikTok, including Twitter, and teaching all the youngsters and the young generation how to use LinkedIn. LinkedIn to develop your resume, to develop your network. So this is something that being done throughout these 5 states. All right, like Kelantan, they have one, Terengganu, they have one. Pahang, they do not have it, but Selangor and Perak, they have that workshop. So this is what I meant by Insight Cross States. So the program is actually embedded in the rural library program. So the librarians who are actually the information technologists, so they are the person who actually in charge of that program. So whether they do it on their own or get someone to help them, that is upon their initiatives. And if we look into collaboration and partnership, all this rural library in the rural area in East Coast and Central region of Malaysia incorporate with the local industries and local government to develop collaborative and partnership program to help to empower the local community. Also with the local community engagement. Right, I'm not sure here in Indonesia whether we have a kampung, ketua kampung, maybe, So di Malaysia juga we have the same scenario. We have what we call Jawatan Kuasa Kependudukan Kampung (JKKK). So these are some of the agencies that actually support the rural library. You know what? There's one very interesting thing happened. We went to this one particular rural library where, well, the librarian did something very interesting. She was telling me, she was telling our team that, how we call the mat rampit. What do you call the youngster who like to play motorbike like like that? What do you call them there here? Membalap. Oh, okay. So we call this group of bunch youngsters mat rampit. So you know how they like to press their motorbike in front of the library, press vroom like that, and then vroom here, vroom there, then everybody got annoyed with it. You know what she did? Top, bro. Motor bro, yeah. It doesn't sound nice, though they think it sounds nice, right? But it's very annoying. So she said she got really tired with those bunch of youngsters and asked them to come and join the workshop. They never came. So she said, okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to conduct a workshop on how to make your bike sounds better. She called a local mechanics to conduct 1-day program so that these youngsters know how to tune up their motorbike, all right, to make it sounds better, to make it more faster and things like that. Sounds ridiculous, but it works. The youngsters actually came to the library, at first they just look around, oh, what is that? What is that? Oh, like that, That's when she managed to get these youngsters. The next day they came, Kak, no more bengkel lah, no more workshop ah. Went on, maybe next month. Okay, I'll be there. And then they came. After that, she start developing workshop like drawing your T-shirts, So that's how she engaged with the young generation, which works for them. It sounds a bit silly sometimes, but somehow it works, somehow it works. So anyway, so this is the comparative insight cross states that I managed to get. And from the findings, we managed to come up with 3 themes. That is digital literacy programs, collaboration and partnership, and community engagement. So within the themes, we managed to understand that there are still gaps in cybersecurity education. Despite giving them all this workshop, collaboration and everything, apparently there is not enough education on security, cybersecurity. There's also recommendation that there is a need to structure an inclusive program to teach these people the awareness, the ethicality of using technology and how to protect yourself when you are online. Digital footprint is real, my dear. So be careful. Never ever think that is privacy in cyber world. Everybody and everything about you can be catch up in online world. So be careful. All right. Now, the second one is localized sexual stories. So the stories that I show you, it comes to show that when you have a good collaboration and partnership, many things can happen. However, there are more centralized coordination is needed, because at the moment it's basically focused on your initiative, the librarian initiatives. If she's good, she will be able to develop better programs. So in future, it is recommended that more centralized coordination to be introduced. And finally, entrepreneurship is well supported in our rural libraries in terms of giving them how to use digital and navigate it accordingly. So from there, this is what the CD Tech Works model is all about. This is the final product of our study, to come up with a framework to propose three main elements interconnected. So these pillars are required to help the rural community and digital inclusion gap become smaller. So this is SD Tech Work model. This is the outcome of the framing. And inshallah, next month, we will be presenting it to the National Library, and hopefully they will actually apply the framework in future. All right. So finally, digital inclusion and sustainability development goals. Yeah, we believe that our current rural public library supports the three main sustainability goals that I've highlighted before, SDG 4, 9, and 17. Now, environmentally, all right, environmentally, the responsibility is referred to the evolving aspiration of the government. All right, so however, our recommendation is that for rural library, digital service hub need to be acknowledged, and the policy and the funding need to be supported by the government. And of course, the sustainability element needs to be buttoned up, not just to the environmental sustainability. I'm talking about social sustainability context. In conclusion, finally, the fact is, anywhere around the world, it's in Indonesia, in Malaysia, in Japan, or anywhere, rural public library must be considered as agent for digital and inclusion futures. And our model, we believe, offer flexible and scalable model that align with the national and global goals, inshallah. So that's the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Razia, for great presentation. Please give applause again for Prof. Razia. For participant, please question first, because we will move to the second speaker. That is Professor Kunifumi Takama. He worked at Marine Biology Laboratory, Blue Innovation Division, Cito Inline Sea Carbon Neutral Research Center of Hiroshima University. Academic qualification, he got master and PhD degree from Kyoto University. Research field covers biology, biological science, and developmental biology. He has many experience as invited lecturer, oral presenter, and poster presenter. Furthermore, he also product many publications such as books and academic papers. Okay, to save the time, let me move to the second speaker. Welcome, Professor Takawa, to start your presentation.
Okay, thank you very much for introduction, and thank you very much for inviting me to here. I'm very honored to be here. Sorry, I've been coughing for more than 3 weeks somehow. And I went to see a doctor to check up before, I mean, 3 weeks ago. And but they didn't figure out what's wrong. And after I came to Indonesia, many people were, coughing. So I think we have same disease. Anyway, so okay. So I cannot speak like her. I mean, she speak very smoothly and she can explain very well. But I'm not a good at English speaker, so I need to use. I'm cheating. Okay, uh, so I'm very since this is not my first time to attend ICGT, and I have some collaboration with my uh, colleague in on green technology. So this time I would like to talk something different from what I have been working with. So today's topics are as follows. The first one, I would like to talk about cement-free green concrete. And second, I would like to present about SAF, sustainable aviation fuel. And those two topics might not be something, those topics might not be sound anything related, but I would like to show you those two are actually very important, and I'd like to discuss with the attendants. Sir, if the time permits, I'd like to show what I have been trying to do with my specialty in Indonesia. Okay, so let's start the first topic. So as all of you know, we have global problems about climate changes. So recently, we have so many wildfires or local intensive rainstorm and so on all over the world. In Japan, usually rainy season is for 1 month between June and July. But this year, we didn't even have 1 week rain. So we are really feeling something is wrong. And the reason why we are having this kind of unusual situation is because of global warming caused by human activity, greenhouse gas emission, GHG emissions. Okay? Okay. Oh, one slide. No. Before. Yeah, so this figure is cited from a publication by the Joint Research Center, the European Commission Science and Knowledge Service. This slide shows global GHG emission from 1970 to 2023. You can easily notice that the amount of GHG emission keep increasing, and the value is double in these 50 years. Okay, so keep increasing, no decreasing. Okay, so next, this slide also cited from JRC 2024, and the left figure shows Indonesian transition of GHG emission, and the right figure shows Japanese transition of GHG emission. In 1970, the value in Indonesia is only 397 million tons. But look, in 2023, the value keeps increasing and it become 1,200, 3 times larger than 1970. Okay, on the right figure, in Japan, the value is 1,317 million tons, more than the value of Indonesian 2023. However, the value keeps decreasing in these 10 years because of our effort and become less than Indonesian value, 1041 in 2023. Okay, next slide, please. So this data is 1 year older than the previous slide and written in Japanese, showing the breakdown of GHG emission by gas type in total emissions. Of course, CO2 is the measure, 75% of total. And the next is methane, 40%, 14%, and then nitrous oxide, 4%, and freon, 2%. Okay? Out of 75 of CO2, fossil fuel occupies 64%, and others, including deforestation and forest degradation and wildfire, occupy the rest 11%. Methane comes from livestock digestion, rice paddies, landfills, and natural gas system, and has about 25 times the global warming potential, GWP, of CO2 over 100 years. Nitrous oxide has about 300 times more potent than CO2. And it comes from agricultural soil, fertilizers, and some industrial processes. And fluorinated gases are synthetic gases with extremely high GWPs, thousands of times more than CO2. Using refrigeration, air conditioning, and electronics manufacturing. Okay, next slide, please. So this data comes from the same resource, JCCCA, and showing the global GHG emission and which country emits how much quantity of CO2. As you can see, China occupies more than 30% of global GHG emission. And the next is USA, 13.6%. Then India and Russia and Japan and Ireland, and the seventh is Indonesia in this old data. As I have shown previous data, Indonesia already exceeded Japan in 2023. So you won. Okay, next slide, please. Yeah, this slide, no. I would like to, so now I would like to talk about concrete in Japan. So this slide was prepared by my colleague, and I did not understand at first, and I have been studied these 2 months to explain to you, and at least what does the slide means. So in Japan, 35% of GHG emissions come from construction industry, and about 4% of it come from cement industry. The mass of concrete is 2.3 tons per cubic meters. And in Japan, every year we consume about 1 million cubic meters. So that means 2.3 million tons. And if a road were made of 1 million cubic meter of concrete, let's say 10 meter wide and 20 centimeter high, it would be 50,000 kilometer long, longer than the circumference of the Earth. I mean, the one circle of Earth is about 42,000 kilometers. So 8,000 more than one circle of Earth. Okay, you can construct. Okay, so next slide, please. Oh, I need to read. So the cement industry is one of the industries with the largest CO2 emissions in Japan after electricity, and still, approximately 4% of measures to reduce emission are an important issue. Approximately 60% of the CO2 is inevitably generated by chemical reaction from raw material, that's limestone, during the process of cement. As CO2 is emitted from the cement manufacturing processes, there is a demand for revolutionary innovation in low carbon technology in the cement industry. Next, please. Okay, furthermore, based on the long-term
Seginian doang,
strategy
bolanya
and
kemana-mana ya.
the Paris
Oh, udah dibuka
Agreement
itu
as a
jendelanya.
growth strategy approved by the cabinet in Japan
Yang
2019,
itu,
formulated in January
dengerin
2020,
aja.
set
Tapi aku juga
establishment
agak
of a cement
semua Inggris kan
manufacturing
soalnya saya
process
nggak tahu
using
kalau udah malas
CO2
mikir.
as a raw material
Makanya
as
cuma
one of
dengerin tapi
39 themes that have the potential
fokusnya
to
tuh tidak ke sini.
significantly
Males
reduce
dengerinnya.
greenhouse gas emission,
Kalau bahasa
and
Indonesia
to
saya
which
masih mau
Japan's
gitu loh.
technological capability
Tapi
can
saya
make a significant contribution.
meskipun bahasa Inggrisnya bagus
The
ya
reduction
dari
in
tadi,
global
tapi
CO2 emission in
masih ngertinya gitu
2050
loh.
in this field is
18
expected to be
ini kan
approximately 4.3 billion tons. Next, please. Okay. So according to Global Cement and Concrete Association, GCCA, total global CO2 emission from the sector today are more than 2.5 gigaton. They are primarily direct CO2 emission, which in turn are primarily from the heated limestone itself, about 60%. And the combustion of the fuel used in cement kiln, and other plant processes, approximately 40%. So electricity used by the sector contribute further CO2 emission as shown. There are multiple levels that will be implemented to reduce CO2 emission at different stages of the whole life of cement and concrete. The roadmap process has evaluated the role that each of these levels will play to reach net zero. Okay, the global average is presented in this graph below. Across the world, each level will implemented in accordance with local factors. In this figure, CCUS is a term for reducing CO2. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so this is my colleague and good friend and always inspire me, Obara Sensei. He founded the patent hold company for gel called Gel Bio after he retired Hiroshima University. Now, he is trying to establish a new company to make eco-friendly concrete and supported by J Startup program promoted by METI, Ministry of Economy, Trading, Industry. Okay, next slide, please. So in order to promote the creation of new businesses and startup and to support the growth of existing new businesses, the METI implements various measures, including the J Startup program and the introduction of startup visas for promising entrepreneurs. Our goal is to create a thriving ecosystem that will guarantee continuous innovation and the perpetual creation of new values. Next slide, please. Oh, so this is also Obara Sensei gave me, and I was very hard to understand at the beginning, but as I already explained, so when you make the cement, you start with limestone, and then you burn the limestone to make green. CaO. And byproduct is CO2 from limestone. And those are the percentage of, of CO2 emission, okay? And so to reduce CO2 when you make the concrete, so the plant is important because plant can fix CO2 and CO2 storage can be done in biochar, okay? And yeah. Okay, so next slide, please. Yeah, so he has been trying to use biochar and blast furnace slag. and so the if you get this kind of slide, how do you understand? And at the beginning, I couldn't understand, but I studied and now I know. The left column is normal cement, so 100% CO2 emission. But if you use blast furnace slag, you can reduce 40% of CO2 emission. And if you use all blast furnace cement, blast furnace slag for cement, you can reduce 100%. And then if you put biochar in this concrete, you can actually get carbon negative. That means minus CO2, okay, theoretically. Okay, so next slide, please. Oh, yeah, so he made several concrete using blast furnace slag with biochar. And then the construction company checked the strength of this concrete. And as the slide shows, oh, something wrong with this slide. Yeah. So, yeah, the slide doesn't show well, this one. So this slide shows one is just typical concrete, and two is like 80% of typical concrete versus 20% of blast furnace slag, and then yeah, those stuff. But anyway. So he made 100% cement-free concrete and then checked the strength of this concrete. So next slide, please. So there are three types of concrete he could make, and the first one is the blue color. That is no, I cannot read. This figure shows the typical three pattern of cement-free concrete with biochar from various resources. One is destructive blue, and the other two are effective in dose-dependent manner and effective in dose-independent manner. So we should disclose that. Disclose the reason of those differences in future to get the useful biochar for constructing cement-free green concrete needed in establishing environmental sustainability. So the key word is biochar to be included in the concrete. Okay. Next slide, please. Yeah. So biochar is a type of charcoal made by heating organic materials such as wood or crop residue in a low oxygen environment. It is used to improve soil health, increase agricultural productivity, and reduce greenhouse gas emission. Biochar can also help store carbon in the soil for hundreds of years, making it a useful tool for climate change mitigation. Okay, next slide, please. So we succeeded in innovating a cement-free green concrete by using blast furnace slab and biochar that show enough bending and compressive strength compatible to normal cement concrete. The novel concrete is also eco-friendly due to carbon negative feature. We wish to continue for searching useful bioresources among ASEAN in the good coordination with the conference attendants. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so next slide, please. Okay, so can I talk? it's already, I think, time consumed, right? But I would like to introduce briefly about SAF too. You know, yeah. So next slide, please. Yeah. So SAF, compared to conventional jet fuel, it reduces CO2 emission by approximately 6% to 80%. There are 21 types of raw materials registered with the International Civil Aviation Organization called ICAO. There are 69 combinations of raw materials, place of origin, and manufacturing method. Municipal waste use, for example, municipal waste use cooking oil, animal fat, sugarcane, corn oil, etc. Okay, next slide, please. Yeah, so, skip. Next slide, please. Yeah. So one of my friends asked me to connect with Indonesia about this Pongamia. Have you ever heard Pongamia? So anyone is working on plant who has some specialty for plant? No? Anyway, so Pongamia is a special species of tree in the pea family. Yeah. And native to Eastern and tropical Asia. I mean, ASEAN countries, of course. And it is often known by the synonymous Miletia pinnata. Its common name includes Indian beech or karanja and the Pongami oil tree. So what I'd like to, and could you go next slide? Yeah. So this is another plant called Carophyllum inophyllum. Yeah, this is another species of plant. And in Japanese called terihaboku. So Pongamia is Pongamia in Japanese, but this one is totally different name and terihaboku. And both species can survive in the very bad condition, nutrient condition. And also very tolerant to saline. I mean the seawater. So they can you can plant this kind of plant in very infertile land to grow. And next slide, please. And yeah, well, this is actually terihaboku, but okay, next slide, please. What I would like to say is next slide, please. Yeah. So Japanese company already succeeded to make using these two species. Company called Japan Oil Mills made this SAF, and they actually applied for actual airplane, the flight from Naha, Okinawa to Miyakojima, Okinawa. Yeah, so they already made this kind of SAF and succeeded. And this company is looking for the partner in Indonesia or ASEAN country to plant this species. Okay, so that's why I wanted to talk about this stuff. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, so we have Japan has this kind of joint credit for carbon credit, and we had this one in 2013 with Indonesia already. So we can use this carbon credit to, to get the credit from the world. Okay. Anyway, next slide, please. Okay, so the plants are promising for contributing reduction of CO2, and biochar is the key. So we need to search more candidates for SAF, and at the same time, those can be useful for biochar. The specialists for plant in ASEAN countries are welcome. Okay, so thank you very much for your attention, and sorry for my not good presentation. What? Komodo? Well, should I show Komodo too? Okay.
Yeah,
so
it's possible.
next slide. Yeah. So this was taken. This picture was taken a couple days ago in Komodo National Park. So behind the Komodo, Anton-san, Tori-san, and me were in this picture. Yeah. So, and next slide, please. Yeah, next slide, please. Okay, so my future goal with Komodo dragon is to bring Komodo dragon from Indonesia to Hiroshima, Japan, and to advance collaborative education and research with our Indonesian partners, thereby further strengthening our academic and cultural ties. So you can easily tell it's very promising because we have already launched the project and visited Komodo National Park just before the 15th ICGT in 2025. Okay. Okay, thank you very much. And
thank you very much for incredible presentation from Professor Tagawa about new trial for green technology and Komodo dragon. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we achieved to the question and discussion session. So please, if you have any question or discussion, please raise hand and tell your name, your institute or affiliation, and which speaker that you want to ask. Please, we can start to the discussion and question. Please, if any question or discussion. Okay.
Check.
Thank you, Mr. Kusnul Yakin, for your expertly guiding our discussion today. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
My name is Nurin Alwarisi. I'm physics student from Faculty of Science and Technology UIN Malik Ibrahim Malang. And in this opportunity, I have two main questions. The first, dear Professor Rozia Abu, Alex, talking about the sustainability and social. I have a big challenge as a student. There are a lot of people around me don't care about it. For the example, my recent study is about sustainability in environmental, but actually I'm a physics student that a lot of people judge me that, hey, you are in physical student, why you research in this field? And then my question is there another perspective for you or maybe advice for me how to solve this problem? And then the second question is Prof. Kuni Fumi. Anyway, I'm excited with Japan because of its Japan kindness, or in Indonesia popular with budaya bersih Jepang. And then my question is about the biofuel from uh, biofuel from my recent study is about the potential from Dipterocarpus spp or crewing as a candidate or of diesel fuel to changing the fossil fuel. But the problem is there are nothing method how to extract or extracting the sap or oleoresin from wood product. Is there any method that you've already researched before about it? And then about the biochar, what kind of the biochar material that usually used in sector of aquaculture and marine? That's all from me. Thank you.
Baik, kembali ya, apa namanya? Sebentar tadi namanya? Nurin. Nurin, PhD student.
I'm
Physics, sorry, physics student. I see. So the question is,
doing the screening for tolerant cultivar and also breeding and development program and also use the marker acid selection until genetic engineering. Next. Yeah, this is the ones of biochemical response in plant in droughts. This is the LEA, this late embryogenesis abundant. That LEA, this protein, a group of hydrophilic protein that accumulate in plants during late development. This is known in the role in the protecting plant cell from damage caused by desiccation, cold and high salinity. And this protein, the size is generally small with the molecular weight between 10 until 30 kilodalton. Next. This is the product of LEA, we call the dehydrin. Dehydrin is the multi-family of protein present in plant that's produced in response to cold and drought stress. That dehydrin is including belong the group 2 of late embryogenesis abundant family. So dehydrin is primarily found in the cytoplasm and nucleus, and they roll to cover the cell, respond to cold and also especially in drought stress. Next. Yes, this is the protein profile and dehydrin accumulation in some soybean. This is our research in some soybean varieties. We use 7 varieties local Indonesian soybean. Consists of Tanggamus, ya, Tanggamus nanti, Seulawa, that is confirm tolerance to stress, Tidar, and also Willis and Burangrang is confirm moderate to drought stress, and also the susceptible variety is Detam. As we know, that's a different profile of protein between tolerance variety and the susceptible variety. And from this profile, we found that new protein induced in drought stress, and this is confirmed in 13 kilodalton and also 52 kilodalton of protein. Next. So we continue to confirmation the new protein with the Western blotting analysis, and we know that the figure in left side is we use dehydrin antibody for specificity test with dehydrin Western blotting method in soybean, and we know this in the right side this the tolerance varieties, and the right side is the susceptible varieties. In the profile, something like similar, but if we continue to next analysis, we can see that the quality of the protein is different. Next. Yeah, this is the different quantity of dehydrin. The tolerant variety will be so that the intensity of dehydrin will be increased, but in susceptible variety, we know that the intensity of dehydrin will be decreased. Next. The conclusion of the research of protein profile of different part of drought tolerant and drought sensitive plant used in this experiment were different, and also severe drought stress causes the decrease of dehydrin protein accumulation in the most variety, except for the Tanggamus, which is tolerant variety. So next, we'll be continue to the identification of gene. The identification of gene LEA, that is identification and characterization drought tolerant of gene LEA D11 soybean based in PCR sequencing, and we still use the 7 varieties of local soybean, and we know that the gene of LEA D11 is in product in 700 base pair. Yeah, we know that 700 base pair. And next. So this is the sequence of the 11 gene that we know that something different in tolerant variety in the susceptible variety. But in tolerant variety and moderate with similar sequencing, and we only found it the different in susceptible variety. Next. This is the change of nitrogen base in the mutation site of the GM Lea D11 gene sequence in the Tetam variety, that is susceptible variety. We know that changings in mutation site and the changing of base, and also changing in codon, and also changing of amino acid. Something mutation will be silent mutation. That means that the mutation not changing the amino acid. For example, the changing mutation that changing the amino acid is mutation number 2. Yeah, mutation number 2 is transition from C to T. That is changing the expression of amino acid. The proline becomes serine. Yeah, something mutation is not changing the amino acid, but some mutation will be changing the expression of amino acid. Next. Okay, this is the outline of molecular breeding, and in the molecular breeding we can doing some project in the molecular marker, something like FLFP, yeah, SSR and SNP from genotyping, and from phenotyping we can mapping the population, something like biparental or MAGIC, yeah, multiparental acids genome multiparental acids genome, and also natural. And breeding population we can use validation, MES, marker acid selection, and also GS or GWAIs for application, genomic selection in wide application studies. Next. And also we can doing some project too to enhance the tolerance breeding with the mutation breeding. Mutation breeding utilize mutagen agents that cause genetic mutation to induce variation in plant breeding program, and this technique employed to develop new crop varieties with desirable traits that might not be readily available through natural variation in traditional breeding. And plant mutation breeding is a breeding method that uses induction of spontaneous genetic diversity for variety development. Next. This is the role of ESSR molecular marker in the analysis of genetic diversity of mutant glycine soya through mutation. That we know that we treat the two combine of mutation of mutant. We use the EMS and also the radiation, the gamma ray radiations, and we saw that ESSR molecular marker can separate the profile that different between the treatment of EMS and also gamma rays. Next. Next. This is the dendrogram of mutant gamma rays and EMS induction. That we know that 3 clusters in the dendrogram. That's P1 is the gamma ray radiation, and the P2 is EMS, and also P3 is combine of gamma rays and irradiation and EMS. That we know that the effective treatment is gamma ray irradiation, because so the far cluster with the control treatment. Next. This is the genetic variety diversity of mutant soybean, also in soybean. Variety Dega, this is treatment from induction gamma ray in use gamma rays. But in the research we use different doses of gamma rays. We know that the treatment is use doses 200 grays of gamma rays, and then 400 grays of gamma rays, and also 600 grays of gamma rays. Next. This is the cluster of dendrogram of mutant of gamma rays. We know that we have 5. Yeah, we have three cluster of mutan. The cluster 1 is gamma rays 200 grays, and cluster 2 we know that gamma rays 400 grays, and the cluster 3 is C1 is the 600 grays. So we can know that the induction of mutan will be different cluster to induce the new variety of soybean. So the last is the conclusion and the future perspective of the molecular breeding. As we know, molecular breeding offers a powerful approach to enhance abiotic stress tolerance in crops by utilize molecular marker and also genomic information and accelerate the selection and breeding process. And then this approach help identify and incorporate gene responsible for stress tolerance into new crop varieties more efficiently than traditional breeding methods. Okay, that I can say. Sorry if have a mistake. I will back to moderator. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Professor Evika, for the valuable presentation. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we now come to the question and answer session. If you have any question, please raise your hand, mention your name, and state to which presenter you address your question. And for the online participant, you may either use raise hand feature to speak directly, or you can type your question in the chat box. We will do our best to accommodate as many as question we have. If you have any question, please raise your hand. Is there any question? Okay.
Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Faizatul Uma. I'm from Biology Study Program. This is for Dr. Jerry. So I want to say that I very amazed with your research because you are from statistics, but you apply it to solve environmental problems. Okay, I want to ask, in the statistical models developed to reduce greenhouse gas emissions, do you also include ecological variables such as plant photosynthesis or biomass as part of your analysis parameters? Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much for that question. Yeah, in our research, not yet. Yeah, I think in the future research, we will use that one. Yeah, we just have a plan. Yeah, to use that one. Yeah, to give more accurate results. Yeah, and then I really surprised about Bu Evika presentation. Yeah, and as you know, one of my students already finished his project about the DNA sequence for Evika. Yeah. I think we can do any collaboration in the future. Yeah, because we also develop kind of new plant. Yeah, that are resistant to the virus. Yeah, we call it chili. Yeah, chili. Yeah, the virus Gemini. Gemini virus. Yeah, we combine several chili. Yeah? We call it cabai besar and cabai keriting. Yeah? We mix together, and then we use kind of regression model, helicnode model, and also interval mapping, to develop new generation of plant that are resistant to the virus. This part of my research, biostatistics and also bioinformatics, and then I really surprised and really grateful, to see the insightful presentation from Bu Evika. Great, thank you very much.
Is there any other question? Okay. The one on the right.
All right, thank you, moderator. My name is Nurin from Physics Department of UIN Maulana Malik Ibrahim Malang. I'm going to ask question for Mr. Jerry. As far as I know, there are various methods in calculating greenhouse gas emission, or we usually call it carbon footprint. So far, I use method based on the data availability, but the problem is I confuse which one method with the most validity in estimating the value of greenhouse gas emission. For the example, in Indonesia, us already implemented the measurement of greenhouse gas emission using method standard from UNFCCC based on Ministry of Energy and Mineral Resources, and in international there are methods from DEFRA, Department of Energy and Futural Affairs, by using the color value that converting into conversion factor based on the use of energy like fuel or grid electricity and another fossil source. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for that question. Yeah, probably Bu Evika will add later on. Yeah, because environmental science actually is just one part of my interest. Yeah, but actually my PhD background is about biostatistics and bioinformatics. Yeah, but DNA sequence. Yeah. But I just want to try to answer your question. Yeah. Actually, if you ask about what kind of methodology or what kind of model we can use, to model the greenhouse gas, and probably some factor that probably affect that emission, there are so many methods. As I mentioned before, I use panel data regression. If you just have 1 year, not more than 1 year, I think you can use very easy method. You can use kind of linear regression, but the accuracy is not really good. The accuracy is not really good because we have so many unpredictable factor, that we cannot control that factor. But don't worry about that one. No need to be confused about that one. As long as we just read a lot of paper, there are so many methods you can use. And then one thing for sure, that, in statistics, I use the Fisher talk about the model, that all models are wrong, but some are useful. Even though our model, even though that paper is just published in reputable journal, but I think just few researchers say that your model is wrong. In my opinion, it's okay, because all models are wrong, but some are useful as long as we just stay on our research, and then we have strong literary review is also okay. You say that, okay, I will use this one. You need to read more paper about that one. And then you say that it's okay. That my model is not really good. It's okay. But if our model is useful for everyone, it is better. Better than we have complex model but not useful for our living. Just use simple model but very useful for our living. It's very good. I think that's my answer. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay. Is there any other question, or is there a question from online participants? Is there any other question? Please, anyone? Okay, thank you very much. Because there are no more questions and discussion, please, ladies and gentlemen, once again, give a big round of applause to all of presenters for the informative and interesting talk. Thank you very much for your active participation. Thank you very much for the presenters for the talk. And in the end, I said, Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, our moderator and speakers, for the insightful session.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the following agenda, we will proceed with the presentation of souvenir to our esteemed keynote speaker and our moderator, which will be presented by the Vice Dean of Faculty Science and Technology. Please welcome Miss Dr. Professor Anton Prasetyo, MSI. To our moderator and esteemed speaker, please come forward.
Sekali lagi kepada keynote speakers dan juga moderator untuk foto kembali, dan untuk para audiens mungkin bisa berdiri untuk kita melaksanakan foto bersama.
Untuk hadirin sekalian, dimohon untuk merapat ke tengah guna melaksanakan foto bersama. Terima kasih.
Akan kami bantu hitung bersama. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Oke. Sekali lagi. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Oke, terima kasih banyak semuanya.
Hadirin dipersilakan duduk kembali.
We would also like to inform you that the parallel session will begin after lunch at 1 p.m. held in various meeting rooms, both offline and online. Please check your room assignment in the participant guide.
An announcement to all participants. After the parallel session, we got some closing announcement to all the participants. So please back here to the closing ceremony. Thank you.
Sekali lagi akan kami informasikan kepada para hadirin untuk tidak pulang terlebih dahulu, karena nanti setelah parallel session akan dilaksanakan closing ceremony dan akan dilaksanakan kembali di auditorium ini. Terima kasih. One more time, bisa kita ingatkan kembali untuk bisa lunch di bawah dan kembali lagi pada pukul 13.00. Terima kasih.